Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven, and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some malicious compliance stories, and our first story of the day is by OMG Please Nope. Why haven't I done this before? I work as a secretary/accountant/front desk in a construction company. I am 6 months pregnant, and I don't want to be very whining, but being pregnant is generally difficult. Anyway, because we are a construction company, people who come and go to our office often have dusty shoes and they leave their footprints on the carpet. We have a very dark themed office and our carpets are dark blue. I've told my boss several times that we need to change these carpets or we shouldn't use them at all because everywhere is covered with dust so quick. But my boss wants the office to be as clean as possible. At first, when he said, "Clean up here," I would say sure and clean it. Then he started obsessing over this carpet thing. I have told him several times that there are a lot of people going in and out. It is difficult to clean the floors every freaking time. And because I'm pregnant, I get tired very quickly. Several times when I went to the bank or somewhere for work, he asked why the office was so dirty in my absence. Or he asked why the doormat was so dusty when there's a literal windstorm outside. Last week, he basically yelled at me and said, "Don't be so lazy. When someone comes in and out, you will sweep the floor immediately." Cue malicious compliance. Last week, I ran the vacuum cleaner behind every single person coming in and out. Even if there was someone waiting for me to do their job, I said I would make them wait a bit and clean the floor because my boss told me to. My boss didn't speak up for the first few days, but then the people waiting for me started complaining. "Do you have to vacuum around in the middle of your job? This is a workplace, of course the place will get dirty. Wow, that's a loud vacuum. You are pregnant, is it okay for you to do this? Just stop it, I have places to be." Doing all this made my back pain disastrous, but I endured. Yesterday, my boss finally couldn't stand the noise and exploded. "Do you have to vacuum the floor 45 times a day?" "No, sir, I don't have to, but you told me to do this." He knew very well what he did and said, and that's why he was angry at me. He left angry yesterday, and today hasn't even arrived. Should I keep doing what he said? Okay, be honest guys, when's the last time you gave your living space a good vacuuming? I'm gonna be honest, reading this story reminded me that it's been a couple weeks, and after finishing reading these stories, I'm probably going to hop onto the vacuum. Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Smackgatter. My boss told me to wait longer for deliveries. I did, and I got paid for $16.50 an hour for sleeping. I do overnight deliveries for 5 locations of a chain store. I get paid per delivery, not by the hour. My manager told me I can deliver the overnight deliveries anytime at night as long as the shipment reaches the stores before 7:30 a.m. when the stores open. I have keys to all except the last store on my delivery route. I would try to finish my deliveries by 7 a.m., but I have to wait half an hour for the last store to open. I complained to my manager saying I need that key for the overnight deliveries. My manager kept on ignoring my requests. It went on for a month. I wasted half an hour every day because of him. One day, I just skipped the delivery for the last store because I couldn't take the wait anymore. This made my manager furious. He called me and ordered me to wait by the last store until it opens. I told him I don't want to wait. He said the company will pay me $16.50 an hour for the wait. I happily said okay. The next night, I started my deliveries extra early and I reached the last store by 1 a.m. I use an app to sign in whenever I reach the store, then I sign out when I'm leaving the store. So I signed into the last store at 1 a.m. and went to sleep until 7:30. Then I delivered and signed out. The company paid me $16.50 per hour just to sleep. This carried on for 2 weeks until the manager got scolded by the higher-ups and I got my key. Getting over $100 per day just to sleep? OP had it figured out. If they did that 7 days a week, they made almost $1,500 for sleeping. I'd do it. Our next story is by N11 Ordo, the not-so-friendly local gaming store. Actors, me, Dan, the stressed but good manager, at the time juggling kids, education, and store management, usually needed 30 hours per day to do all the things he promised he'll do. Oz, the store owner, a massive know-it-all. Background: when this happened, I had been unemployed several years. So when the job center gave the go-ahead for the chance at a government-paid intern spot at the local gaming store, I jumped on it with gusto with the hopes of one day working full-time with my hobby. Act 1, First Contact. Monday morning, and I was as giddy as can be when I locked up my bike next to the gaming store, head already filled with ideas about how this was the start of a long and glorious career working with my beloved hobby. Oz quickly greets me, dumps over onboarding responsibility to Dan, and then promptly rushes out to catch a flight to a big board game convention in Germany. After a slightly confused welcome aboard spiel from Dan, he introduces me to the back area consisting of storage, a small office, and an even smaller kitchen. After the 5-cent tour, Dan finds out that the store is out of intern shirts and the store owner hasn't put them on back order. So I'm given a company branded work shirt with a temporary handwritten badge that says intern pinned to the front pocket as a stopgap solution, and told what's expected of me. This includes sweeping and dusting the store every morning, restocking the shelves, assisting customers, and if all those have been checked off, paint the store's supply of loner wargaming terrain. This will be important later on. Act 2, the troubles begin. 1 week later. Oz says, "What do you think you're doing? That area is employees only." I look up from behind the counter where he's helping Dan tally boxes of 100 plus mixed dice to see Oz march up to the counter, finger pointing square at me and looking like I just killed his pet hamster in front of him. I'm helping the manager tally these dice so he, "I said employees only. You are not an employee." Okay. Hey Dan, can I take these boxes over to the Magic the Gathering table and tally them there? Dan says, "Sure." "No, you cannot. Those dice are to be kept behind the counter at all times." Not wanting to make a fuss and maybe ruin my hopes of working with my hobby, I put the dice boxes back in order and step out from behind the counter. How about I restock the shelves with the new games we have in the back room? "The back room is employees only as well. You can't be in there without supervision." I'm guessing you don't have the time to supervise me while I get the things I need? "No, I don't. I'm meeting the guy setting up the web store, so I have better things to do than watch you haul boxes around." Dejected, I pick up a broom and decide to sweep the floor for the 5th time that day. The web store was, according to a conversation between Oz and Dan I overheard, going to be the come-all end-all solution that would multiply the amount of customers for the store in no time flat. Oz had hired a guy part-time to set it up recently, so I scratched his behavior up to stress and moved on with my day. Fast forward 3 days. "You can't wear that. Those shirts are for employees only. Go change right this instant." I look up from scrubbing off a stubborn coffee ring from one of the tables reserved for the upcoming Magic the Gathering tournament later that day, and notice that Oz was pointing at me and fuming with barely concealed anger. I was told by Dan to wear this so customers know I'm an intern. "I don't care. Those shirts are for employees only and you are not an employee. Go change." One quick shirt change later, and I am now using my regular short-sleeved summer shirt with no sign or branding to differentiate me from a generic customer as work shirt. Act 3, the end. "I've gotten a lot of complaints about you from customers lately. They say you aren't professional enough. I don't want you to handle customer service anymore." For the record, this is complete BS. I know somewhere around 80% of all the people that shop at the gaming store from a local wargaming club, and no one has said anything to me about my behavior at the store, either during or after this. Okay, so what do you want me to do instead? "I don't know. Find something to do. You know what's expected of you." Let's see. Store is cleaned and dusted, floor swept, can't restock shelves, can't handle customer service, can't loiter behind the counter to learn the register. What else is there? Alright, painting terrain. Here's where the malicious compliance comes into play. I grab some boxes of dull, sprue gray terrain pieces and the big box of paint pots and sprays. Usually, it would take about 45-ish minutes to paint each piece to what is referred to as tabletop standard. A few quick coats of paint, a slather of wash to get depth, and a quick dry brushing to pop what details there are. But this won't do at all. This store needs to have the best painted terrain it can possibly have. Paints are prepared, reference photos researched at great length, and every minuscule piece of mold line scoured away like it is an affront to nature itself. Now just the prep work for each piece runs up to 40 minutes without even the first layer of paint having been applied yet. I carefully thin each layer of paint to nearly the consistency of pure water and apply each layer with utmost care before letting each piece dry for 20 minutes before applying the next layer of ultra-thinned paint. Every single detail on the terrain pieces are given the full competition winner treatment. This goes on for a week, customers or no customers. My days now consist of sweeping and dusting the store, then bringing out the big box of terrain and paints, paint 2 or 3 terrain pieces for 7 hours, then clock out and go home. All the while, Dan is overworked to the point of near nervous breakdown, and Oz is ranting about customers being neglected and that nothing is getting done without him. Fast forward a day or so, and by lunchtime, I have just finished up a statue terrain piece that now looks like it could have stepped off the board by itself.
That won't do. Redo that statue.
Why?
It doesn't match the style of the other pieces.
You never said anything about what quality you wanted the terrain pieces painted in, so I figured I'd do my best.
I don't care. Either redo it to match the rest, or get out.
This is new. Oz hasn't complained about any of the other pieces that I painted in the same style. Well, enough is enough. Instead of my usual grin and bear it stoicism, I get up, carefully put the paint pots back in order, and start putting away the terrain pieces.
What are you doing?
Putting back everything where it should be.
I told you to repaint the statue, not put everything back.
You told me to redo it or get out. I'm doing that. I quit. Fast forward to the current day. Dan has quit working at the gaming store. The web store is a broken piece of crap that only barely does the minimum required, and the physical store was limping along on life support even before the pandemic hit. From what I heard from Dan last time I spoke to him, a lot of wargamers stopped coming to the store to play because they thought the majority of the old terrain pieces looked like crap and figured they could do better themselves by pooling resources and setting up a gaming club. Stores like these deserve a lot of care and attention. If you're going to try and maintain a community of these wargamers that show up and play consistently at your store, you want to make sure you put in enough care and detail into the stuff you provide so that the people are sufficiently satisfied. Think about it like this. If you were hosting a basketball game, nobody's going to want to show up and pay you money to play with underinflated, patched up basketballs. So if all you're providing is these cheap, worn-out pieces or just low-quality pieces in general, you shouldn't be surprised when people stop showing up. And our final story of the day is by Mondius. If you don't like it, you can clock out and go home. An old story from about 10 years ago, but I still giggle about it sometimes. I've been working at a McDonald's and only just started maybe 2 weeks ago or so. They gradually trained me on the 2 main stations in the kitchen. First, the chicken station, aka deep fryers, then the burger station, aka the grill. But the chips/fry station is always busy, so they were delaying training new employees until a slow morning came on the weekend or some other freak event caused the chips to get slow. One day, the restaurant got busy, and for whatever reason, the manager decides to put me on the chips. Someone probably called in sick or was no-show. I informed him that I have had 0 training on the fries, but I can handle either of the other stations effectively. He didn't care and put me on the fries regardless. To no surprise, I was inefficient on that station, figuring out the process myself from what I saw the others do while working another station. I didn't know the best timing, my portions were all over the place, orders started piling up, and instead of helping in any way, the manager was standing behind my back, literally breathing on my neck and criticizing every little bit of it.
Your fries are burning. You're running out of fries. You brought too many bags from the freezer. The other bag will be soggy by the time you open it. Your portions are too small. You're too slow.
At one point, he grabbed a bag of chips and asked me,
Look at this portion. If you were a customer, would you pay for it?
Finally, I told him that instead of standing behind me and criticizing every move, he could jump in to help or train me, or at least give some basic hints to get me started. To this, his response was something along the lines of,
Well, the restaurant is busy and you're too slow. You need to be faster, and if you don't like it, you can clock out and go home.
All of this is about 2.5 meters away from customers, mind you. Before his mouth could close after saying that, I have already turned on my heel and started marching towards the clock. He caught up with me at the clock.
What are you doing?
Clocking out.
You can't just clock out.
Yes, I can. You said yourself I can clock out and go home, while marching towards the staff room/changing room.
You think you can just leave in the middle of a busy day? You know there's 1,000 people out there waiting to get your job.
And there's a million minimum wage dead-end jobs out there that I can do tomorrow instead of this. I don't get paid enough to deal with your BS.
Good luck and I'll see you tomorrow.
OP later clarified that although they literally did walk out on this day, the manager didn't sack them on the spot. So OP figured if they weren't petty enough to sack them on the spot for bruising their ego like that, they might as well stick around until they find another job. And I get that. Stick around, get some kind of money, and then just leave as soon as you can find any other opportunity that pays at least that well or better. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.